I'm Jamie, and I have been feeling drawn to start doing this again for quite some time. It's been a little while since I've read, but I have been getting so many hits recently that I think it's time I share them all. Um, One of my first major hits is on who the next president's going to be. I know everyone is so stressed and scared right now. I mean, I felt it. I wanted Kamala to win, and when it didn't happen, I was kind of shocked, but not shocked. I mean, I'd been getting a feeling that while yes, she should be the one winning, we need to be prepared for a Trump presidency and everything that's going to come with that, and that means having extra food, taking care of your finances. If you have student loans, make sure those are taken care of. Just anything you can do to try to mitigate what is going to happen now. So one of my big hits is on who is the next president going to be. I do think that we are going to get one that is not scared to stand up to Trump. And that's really what we need right now. We need that. We need someone who's going to stand up for our democracy, to stand up for our rights. The person that I'm feeling, it's almost going to be like an Obama energy, where he's going to really get the people excited about voting. He's going to get the people excited. He's going to stand up to the corporations, the billionaires. He's going to say, enough of this. We are not going to look at the corporations as people anymore. They can pay their taxes. They can contribute. These billionaires can contribute. And we're not going to put up with this anymore. So this person is going to be very exciting, very outspoken. I feel like he's going to be younger. Not like 35 years old young, but more in the sense like Obama was young. I'm sorry about my birds. They are wanting to join in on this. That is really what I am seeing for the next president. It's good news. It's going to be someone who might, of course, not everyone's going to be happy. There's always going to be the hardcore MAGA supporters that no matter what happens, they are going to think Trump is God. That's just the way it is anymore. But fortunately, soon they will be the minority. They will be more in hiding. They won't be sitting here ranting and raving about everything because they know deep down that this is not right. The next thing, I do feel like there is going to be a lot of extreme weather coming in the next few months. It's going to be a really rough tornado season. A lot of hail, flooding, especially, obviously as we get into spring, that's the season for it. We're probably going to see some tornadoes where we might not normally see them. We're going to see some strong tornadoes, maybe an F4 or 5. I feel like it might be near a decent sized town. That's going to be a rough one, but it's also going to show where we are without the funding that comes from FEMA. And it's going to start opening people's eyes. I feel like there might be a few earthquakes coming up, maybe one in Southern California, possibly some more in Europe, maybe a volcano eruption. I'm going to do some cards on that one, just because that has been one thing that has come on and off for me lately. Yeah. Possibly a minor eruption, not Armageddon-like. I think there won't be a lot of deaths. I think there will be plenty of warning for this when this happens. I don't feel like it's going to happen super soon, but by probably towards summer. Um, but yeah, definitely more earthquakes, extreme weather. I do feel like we're going to have another really bad hurricane season, quite possibly a couple major, similar to last year's, with those huge hurricanes that just really pummeled Florida. I do think Florida's going to get pummeled again. I think there might possibly be some, maybe up a little bit, up north a little bit more, maybe even towards New England. So, of course, we're worried about Department of Education. What's the Supreme Court doing? The Supreme Court is fighting. I mean, I know we are worried. We have a lot of super conservative judges put in there right now. We have certain ones who are just so pro-Trump and just don't want to say no to him. But I do think they're going to have no choice but to continue fighting against him. I do think Amy Coney Barrett is going to surprise us a bit. And it has shown she has done the right thing on several occasions. I think she is showing that she can look at the other side and apply the rule of law as it is, even if she doesn't necessarily agree personally. I think she is trying to do what's correct, even if we may not agree with everything she says or does. I don't think she's going to do anything blatantly unconstitutional aside from Roe versus Wade, which I do think that is going to be put back in place with the next president. As for the Department of Education, that's a rough one. I do think they might cut a lot of the funding for it. It might be hard for them to completely abolish it. I do think that it's obviously going to hit rural states more, and those are who voted for him. And they're gonna have teachers losing money. They're gonna have students not having the proper education. They're really going to lose a lot of that safety for their schooling. Families won't be happy about it. And I think this is going to be just one more thing on a whole pile that's going up and up and up, that the people that voted for him are going to say, what is this? And they're going to understand they need to actually listen to what they're voting for. I do think that for now the funding will at least be cut pretty drastically. I don't see it being completely eradicated. And again, so much of this stuff is going to be fixed eventually when we get the next president and the one after that. I mean, it's going to take time. This next one will do everything that he can to fix what Trump is doing. The other issue I have been getting hits on is bird flu. It's going to continue being really bad. I don't see it as a pandemic for humans. I think a big part of this process, they needed to see Trump without having a pandemic as an excuse for his failures. So while it's going to be big, there's going to be some people that do get it, but it's not going to be devastating like COVID was. So they will have to be culling a lot more birds. Things are going to be rough for a while. Probably in the next couple years. I do see that they are going to find some treatments. Possibly, I feel like maybe England or Germany will be finding some treatments for this bird flu so that they won't, possibly even some sort of vaccinations, maybe, so that they won't have to cull the entire flock of birds when they find an infected bird. And I do feel like within the next couple years, things will get better with bird flu. It might kind of rise and fall a bit, but it will get better. So I know a lot of people want to know why he won. I do think there's a lot of reasons. Obviously, disinformation. I do think some racism definitely played a part because people just unfortunately did not want Kamala. I do think that there was some manipulation with the code in the voting machines. And I think that will be found out. I think they do know more than they're letting on. The problem is building that case. I think it's going to take international assistance. What else can I tell you? I do feel like there is an attack on the U.S. coming up. With the cuts to the FBI, CIA, we're just not able to get the resources that we need. It's gonna happen at a big city. I feel like it's gonna be targeting government over civilians. So I do think it's not going to be the biggest attack, but it's definitely going to make people stop and think. There will be some death. Unfortunately, with this attack, it will be one that people will realize. This could have easily been prevented if we had the intelligence with that we lost from cutting CIA and FBI funding and from losing those employees that were providing that. Cyber attacks is another thing I'm thinking of. Cyber attacks. I think there will be a cyber attack. I think it seems like it's going to be some leaks from someone on the inside. I think it's going to involve what's going on with Musk. I think they're going to release some sensitive information about what Musk is doing in the Treasury and why he's pretty much wanting everyone's personal information. I think that a lot of this information is going to leak out, and I do think our everyday people's financials are at risk because social security numbers, all this information is going to get leaked. So it might be a good idea to continue to check your credit, check your bank accounts, freeze your credit if you must. I do think that it's going to get leaked. What is the future of Gaza? I think that eventually they'll be okay. They obviously have a lot of rebuilding to do. They're worried about Trump's threats. They're worried about what's going on with Israel. I do think Netanyahu's on his way out. I think they might get a better leader for Israel that will kind of just leave the Palestinians alone, which that's what they want. I do think both sides are going to end up having to work together to try to find a peaceful way to coexist, while letting each other still be able to go to their holy cities, to be able to just live their lives. I think they are going to start their long process of rebuilding. I do think some of the other Middle Eastern countries like Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, I think maybe even Egypt are going to help them with rebuilding and getting back to normal, and maybe even making their lives better than they were before all of this happened. So what is going on with Kamala? Let's see. I do think she is feeling a bit frustrated after all that's happened. She is just at the moment trying to recuperate. I think she deserves that. She worked hard. She tried so hard to become the president. She should have been the president. I think her political career is not done. She's taking a little break, and then I think she is going to come back. Maybe not as president, but she will continue in her career as a politician, possibly governor, maybe get into Senate, or the House of Representatives. I don't think she is done. I don't think we're gonna stop hearing from her anytime soon. And that is a good thing. Okay, will the U.S. withdraw from NATO? I'm not sure if we even can. And Trump is going to try. He wants to weaken NATO. He's going to push for it, but in the end, I don't think that Congress is going to let him withdraw. I think we do need to have our allies, and we are going to tell him, or Congress is going to tell him, that we cannot do that, that we need to try to get along with our allies. I mean, I think Trump does not seem to understand. Well, he doesn't understand. He just thinks that it's all about him. It's all about his ego at this point. I know my son was like shocked to find out that you don't actually need to go to college to become the president, which, I mean, I'm surprised about that too, but here we are. Um, Speaking of NATO, what does the future look like with our foreign relations, particularly those countries that are or were our allies before Trump came along? We're going to have to look after ourselves for a while, unfortunately. Um, we will eventually get back to being allies with them, but it's going to take a long time. It's going to take agreements. I think these countries are going to want to see new rules. They're going to want to see laws put in place to prevent this type of person from going into power again. Will Trump try to start any wars with Greenland, Canada, or Panama? Probably not Greenland or Canada. I don't think he's that stupid. I think he is going to try. It might not happen. He might be stopped by Congress. I do see. He might also try to start sending military out against Americans. I do see some of the military saying something about the Nuremberg defense will not work. If you don't know what the Nuremberg defense is, I was just following orders, so I feel like they're going to stand up and do the right thing for the country. What about U.S. aid? I think it's going to be put back in place. They might actually make some improvements on it. I think there are already talks about it, that they're going to improve it. They're also going to make it more of an open door, so that they'll be saying that these are some of the projects that we're doing to help. I think a lot of people, unfortunately, don't understand what USAID was about, and I do think having more of an open door policy will help people understand a little bit more what the purpose was for USAID and how that would actually help our influence and protect us a little bit as Americans. Let's see. So I think Trump is going to have some more legal battles. So many of these executive orders will not get through. He is definitely going to have to fight for some of this. I do see him losing. I do see some more coming out about some of the immigration and deportations he's doing, some of the treatment of the prisoners that he's rounding up. And I do think that they are going to have to change up some things if that's what they want. I do think that we're going to see a little bit. I do think the next president is going to do a lot of immigration reform, like pathways to citizenship. He's going to make immigration a little bit more accessible. to other nations who just they want to come here and work for a better life, but financially it's very expensive. I mean, my ex-husband immigrated here and it cost thousands of dollars, so that's really out of reach for a lot of these people, unfortunately. um what about Musk? Let's see what's going on with him. I mean, he's basically just going in there with no idea. I mean, he wants to get rid of, basically, he's trying to get rid of departments that have investigated him. He's actually, USAID, he's trying to do a favor to China. I think he will get in trouble. I see him getting arrested, possibly. Maybe towards the end of the year, or maybe early fall. It's still going to be a while. He's still going to create a lot of havoc, unfortunately, but I think the people are going to have enough pretty soon here. What about all these welfare programs they want to cut? Will they do it? I think they're going to make a lot of cuts. It's going to hurt a lot of people that voted for him, especially. I do see some states threatening to withhold the money they'd be sending for federal money and using it towards the programs on their own. I see them even using some of that money to help other states because of cuts to FEMA. But I do think a lot of these programs are going to be restructured and further benefit all the people. So another topic, I do see a lot of criticism about the people leaving MAGA. That we shouldn't feel bad for them. I think we need to look at that in another way. This is a cult. That's what it is. These people, they would believe the sky was green and the grass was blue if Trump told them. So we need to take a look at that. We need to look at the people that are leaving from a place of understanding and empathy and love. We need to accept them. We need to show them that we can forgive them for their mistakes. They're learning, they're figuring it out, that they can't just vote someone in just because of what party he's in. That they need to actually look at what their policies are going to be and how it's going to affect them and the rest of the world. On that note, I do think that those of us who are not MAGA, those of us who have like the empathy, we may be tempted to have no empathy for some of these Trump voters, but we are here to show them that empathy is what part of being a human is, that we need to accept them, that we need to show them that we still see them as human, no matter what their mistakes. And that's hard. Believe me, I've been tempted myself to just throw them aside and tell them to buzz off, but the fact is, a lot of them they learn these ideas from the time they're young. I think a lot of them just don't understand. Um, just that a lot of people are different. It's just something that we need to work on, all of us, and we're here, and we need to show them that. So I think that's all I have for today. I do want to pull an oracle card from my goddess oracle set, and it's Hestia, the goddess of hearth and home. It means that it's time to focus on your home, meditate, take some breaths, just relax, imagine your dream home, and try to have that peace, try to hold it all together, and I will see you next time.